He collapsed at home hours after football practice. Cyrus Oliver was rushed to the hospital where he stayed in critical condition until he was taken off of life support and passed away. The Georgia teen's family says he drank 4 gallons of water and Gatorade before collapsing. And doctors are blaming overhydration for his death. We are putting the danger of overhydration in focus tonight with Dr. Lou Kovacs from MedStar Union Memorial Hospital Sports Medicine. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
This is, how common is this? I've never even heard of it.
So mild cases are really common. It's one of the most common things that we encounter in endurance events and prolonged exercise, as in longer than about 4 hours. But thankfully, severe cases like we saw in Georgia are very rare.
So now what goes into play? I mean, because at this time when all of our kids are out there playing football and basketball, you're trying to make sure they stay hydrated. Is it based on weight? How do you measure it out?
Right, so there are a lot of things that can be done, and not all of those things are practical in all situations. So in an ideal world where you can measure everything, you might be able to know what somebody's sodium concentration is in their sweat and in their blood and in their urine, and be able to collate all that information together to come up with a hydration plan for them for their practice. And that's done at the highest levels, and I think that has some evidence to suggest that it's effective. But the main thing that can be done for people to avoid overhydration, or the technical term is exercise-associated hyponatremia, is to drink when they're thirsty, and not more often than that.
So I guess how much would you have to drink to be overhydrated?
So for the case in Georgia, I don't know anything more than what you just said, but 4 gallons of total fluid is a lot of fluid. And those are all fluids, water and Gatorade or commercially available sports drink. Those all have less salt in them than your blood does. So if you drink a lot, it will dilute the salt from your blood, and that's what causes this hyponatremia situation.
So I guess what should you look for? What are the signs and symptoms or the warning signs of overhydration?
So it's a little bit tough to say, because most of the time there are no signs or symptoms. For mild cases especially, it can be asymptomatic. If the salt loss is rapid and severe, then some of the symptoms that you might see are GI upset, such as nausea, vomiting, confusion, lethargy, puffiness, and then obviously in extreme cases, coma and death.
So I guess you just kind of, is it play by ear, or just make sure they have, you know, enough but not too much, is really, as a parent?
Right, exactly. So you expect somebody when they exercise to lose some water. That's normal. So you're worried about a situation where somebody comes out of a marathon or out of an intense practice in the heat on the football field, and they come out weighing more than they did at the beginning of the practice. That means that they've taken in too much fluid. A little bit of water loss is good during that activity.
Dr. Kovacs from MedStar Union Memorial Sports Medicine, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks very much for having me.
You know, something else that we worry about when our kids, we talk about on the sports field, we're also worried about injuries. And a new survey by the group Safe Kids Worldwide shows some real alarming statistics. 42% of players said they hid or downplayed an injury so they could keep on playing. These are the kids who were hurt. 70% said that they told a coach or a parent about the injury. And 33% of the kids say they've been hurt because an opponent was playing dirty. Now, the group that compiled the report says these behaviors, dirty play or ignoring or hiding injuries, need to be addressed for things to improve, obviously. They say bringing together coaches, parents, and athletes before the season begins to set rules to prevent injuries is really, really critical, as well as teaching young athletes the proper techniques and warm-ups and stretching to prevent them from getting hurt.